pistol round live, and there's going to be moves being made here by Nouns as well. They will not sit by idly. They will not die wondering. And Major, well, he does die wondering what he could have done differently, and that's going to force Eternal Fire's hand into the A-bomb site now because they've lost the player on the opposite side of the map.
Nouns are actually reading this one really well as well. I mean, it's obvious what Eternal Fire are doing, and Nouns are starting to gamble for that straight away. And it's not even a gamble. Rotation behind is very quick. Look at those flanking players on right, on the X-ray. Below all the Eternal Fire members, and they're going to get picked apart one by one here. Cynic will get another. Marky gets the last.
Either way, let's see if Eternal Fire can get themselves on the board here. Going to be a pretty stock standard approach coming through from them off the bat. Burn through a bit of their utility, assuming they haven't dropped any. Great flash. Wicadia goes for the spray though. Didn't have to go for the spray in that situation. Just a tap or two would have got the job done. So opening kill denied. Look at the weaponry Nouns have to work with as well right now. 4 MP9s and an M4. This is Eternal Fire's prime opportunity to get themselves on the board.
Yeah, this is a double bonus round, it feels, for Nouns. Usually in this sort of situation, you have at least one more M4 or maybe a FAMAS. They have those 4 SMGs they have to try and play aggressively with, you would think. But right now they're just playing pretty regular, stock standard. woxic, of course, on the Krieg as well. Can't get the AWP out. As we'll get a scoped rifle. And woxic is a point of contention for me on this team. He has been very poor, in my eyes, on the switch over to CS2.
Oh, yeah.
He's really been struggling, and I really need to see him step up.
He's got a sub 1.0 rating in CS2 so far, and that is not something you'd associate with woxic. However, Eternal Fire march on in towards this B bomb site, fragging left, right, and center. SMG's unsuccessful. I mean, they've made a bit of a mark, a bit of damage inflicted, but the round's certainly going to go the way of the Turks.
And as it should, to be honest, against the weaponry they were facing, of course. That is the likely outcome. For Nouns, they make it awkward for him, and Carson swings with that MP9. Major, though, is lurking around. He still has a chance in this one. Oh, almost that. What would have been 3rd kill in the round. 1v2 now.
My concern here from Nouns is that, yes, it's great, like you said, they're taking initiative and they're being proactive, but they need to know when to reel it in, when to call it a day there. They didn't have to keep forcing the issue in the 5v2. You got to lock in your profits, take them to the bank. No need to continue to ask any more questions at that point. Force Eternal Fire to make the next move. That could have snowballed out of control with XANTARES getting a 2nd kill. And you can't discount Major's attempt now, potential in the 1v2. He's got the bomb. He's found a bit of a gap right now, making his way over through window. The B bomb site's open for business right now.
This is very winnable, let's put it that way. I really have a feeling this could be a chance for Major. B-Wills is going back to give that a glance, but of course, Cynic's just playing retake. I'm sure that bomb tap will be heard. Yes, it will. And now Major, if he's aware of the possibility of the ramp player, now it's a 1 versus 1. Cynic has a kit and he has utility, but Major is repositioned beautifully. Surely the death cam, B-Wills would have come. He's maybe walked back toward the stairs, but he's playing quad, and Cynic might just be about to shift into this angle. Oh, Major had his chance. Very expensive, and it might cause future pitfalls with the economy. Wicadia, bottom of ramp, of course. Vertigo, still a map that's pretty hated by pros, I would say, but at least on CS2, the change-up of being able to nade those ramp smokes, to break them, as usually the communication is between teams these days, is a strong possibility. And woxic with that Krieg will use that scope to good effect. We'll get that pick on toward Carson, and now we're all grouping back toward B. I think this is going to be a pretty hard hold for Marky.
Yeah, he's going to have to make his mark here on this one. The sole B defender right now. Some rotations gravitating in his direction. He's blinded up, he's burning. Continues to be flashed on the angle. Still somehow able to come away with the frag though. That's really good from Marky. At least leaves the round somewhat doable here for his teammates, but it's a man advantage for the T side, and the bomb plant's going to follow suit.
Yeah, and woxic will spray down Cynic as well. Unless B-Wills finds this 2nd right here, right now, I don't think there's much of a chance. Calyx actually facing with the bomb out there. Thankfully, time is not too much of an issue, but of course they have utility. And now look at the health. They would have heard that burning, of course. It's very loud in CS2, that sound cue ticking to that Molotov. And woxic and Calyx, 38 HP combined between the two of them. B-Will spots Major, but unfortunately, Major is the one to hit the shot. CJ, very stuck. Should know that both are ramped now. He's wearing a white box bait in, but yeah, it all adds up.
So I'm thinking if Nouns can get 5 here, I reckon they'll take that.
There's a chance. There is a chance. So you're saying there's a chance.
Yeah.
Wicadia in mid. Just proving to be a little bit of a nuisance, of course. Just staying silent, though, for now. CJ, long-range duel down ramp. And actually, it's Carson to be taken down to 1 HP out of all of that.
Lots of damage going back and forth right now, but no fatalities just yet.
Yeah, clock ticking down. 40 seconds. Calyx looking to try and make a move on the top of that smoke, and thankfully B-Wills gets vision on him. That smoke is a little bit harder to put into practice. There was obviously a one-way used in CSGO that was very common in that position. Carson, incredibly, actually gets that nade kill. So they have a 4v3. Wicadia taking B-Wills, but now with 20 seconds to go, they're going to really have to hurry up here.
Where are they going?
XANTARES will at least manage to find the 1 HP of Carson, and okay, you say where are they going? If they can just hit headshots like that, then who cares? That's classic Eternal Fire. 3v2, XANTARES finds CJ, bomb will go down with 6 seconds to spare. Cynic though, he's already here, and weirdly, they're spread out all over the map at the moment with that bomb going down on B. What a weird strategy. Usually you want to go in as a team. In this instance, they most certainly didn't, but Major gets away with it.
So at that point, losing the pistol's a bad omen. Winning the pistol, should I say, rather. We've seen 3 pistol rounds won by the losers so far, assuming.
We are assuming.
Yeah, maybe getting a bit of ahead of myself.
I know. You'll only pick nouns, mate. Come on.
Yeah, it's true. I got to have a bit more faith in the lads. They started well.
Calyx, that's a good start for nouns in this round. That's probably a maximum damage nade there, down to 46 HP. But Wicadia, look how deep they are in CT spawn. Thankfully, Cynic has something to say about it. Gets feedback in response, and now a massive pinch coming in from Nouns. A flash through the elevator smoke. And Major is left 1 versus 4. Great pinch there from... He really can give you some information. And Calyx in his default spot under B stairs there. Destroyed by Marky. You mentioned Calyx. He's actually been, for me, was one of the most improved players in that Pro League run that Eternal Fire had. He was looking as sharp as the likes of Wicadia and XANTARES. Of course, not in necessarily as much of a star role. It's woxic who's the question mark, and if you want to look back through the rest of the tournaments they played in CS2 and look forward to this tournament, he's going to have to play well if Eternal Fire want to win the whole thing. Wicadia will get an entry toward ramp to recover it back into a 4 versus 4. Minute to go.
Yeah, woxic's got the AWP here for the first time. I'm pretty sure in the half we've seen the sniper in his hands. He's had the scoped rifle, and there we go. With his beloved big green gun, he will find an opening frag, at least in terms of opening up the A-bomb site. Second kill comes through onto Carson as well. There will be a rebuttal out of Marky, but not just 1, but 2. That's his 3rd in the round, and he's doing everything he can to try and get that 5th on the board for Nouns.
Denying the bomb plant. Impressive stuff. Marky, will stop Major. Major tries to go aggressive on the top of double stack, and it leaves woxic actually in a clutch now. Needs a 4K for this one, but B-Will spots him on the corner, and that's a lovely way to end that half for Nouns. They'll be feeling a lot better after that one. Just like their aggression. Just so fun to watch, which is why T-side sometimes feel pretty amazing. But only 7, I say only. Nouns will be relatively hopeful. Some presence at the bottom of ramp. Calyx just looking to go back and forth on that one, perhaps bait them into the XANTARES boost. But Nouns aren't biting yet.
Yeah, overplayed his hand there, did Mr. Calyx.
Ooh.
And although XANTARES is getting a lot of information, it's still 2 players committed, and a 3rd is in that A-bomb site as well. It's only Wicadia on the opposite side of the map right now, and he has a number of unwanted visitors on his doorstep.
I'm really liking the decisions Nouns are making in this game so far, especially on their pistol rounds. This one is the correct choice as well. Wicadia very stuck behind Jen, smokes her up. Major cannot see a thing, and Marky will double up. Very nice stuff from Nouns. Major, you may have a smoke and a kit. If you can get himself into a position to use that, that would be a minor miracle. Nouns going very aggressive here, even a little headshot there from woxic through the corner of the installation on the window area. But yeah, I think they're going to be falling back to save this. woxic, of course, has his Kevlar. Major can perhaps use that kit and smoke to be a bit cheeky in the following round. So Nouns have fought their way through here very nicely. 1 pick on A, straight back to B. Works nicely.
Yeah, they're feeling really good. Second pistol round goes their way, and that's going to reduce the gap to just 1 round, and neither woxic nor Major are going to be able to save their armor or utility.
It really is. The B's absolutely the right site to go for this sort of burst, though. Get these MAC-10s up close and personal. Thankfully, Eternal Fire at least have a helmet on all 5 players, so the MAC-10s won't be destroying them in one goosh. But look at all that utility being flown in here, and all that utility is already going to burn Major out of the round. B-Wills will get that one. Dinks exchanged, but another MAC-10 kill comes through. XANTARES and woxic, they will answer back, thankfully. They need more, you feel. XANTARES somehow gets another one through the corner of the smoke.
Yeah.
It leaves Cynic and Marky up. And look at Cynic, he's on this flank, catches woxic in the back. That, of course, will change up Wicadia's attention, and he just recovers the kill. Marky, 16 and 8 so far in this game. And XANTARES, he's gone for this massive rotation behind B. But with the health on the 2 of them, if Marky guesses this situation, he could absolutely win this out.
I don't think he does, though, because he has the information. Both XANTARES and Wicadia were towards CT spawn. Timing of the essence, XANTARES going to appear. Bit of a tenderization from the nade, and the flank will work out. Great heads-up play there from XANTARES testing ramp. They don't want to let Nouns get past that halfway mark up ramp. They really try and asphyxiate their opponents. And it does look like it's enough to force Nouns backwards.
Yeah. Slow and steady. Calyx just looking for a crack, looking for an arm, looking for a shin of players crossing. And I think he's got some intel now. Looks through the map as if to say, boys, I might need some help in a second. He's gone for a straight up peek. Now that is an error from Calyx. Surely don't expose yourself that significantly. And Nouns realise the situation. They're going to get rid of him straight away. Major will somehow tap Cynic through that smoke, and that's actually the only thing that keeps this round alive for Eternal Fire, it feels like.
Yeah, very retakeable. They've got a flash to get into the bomb site. They've got a molly. They've got a smoke potentially for the defuse. A kit in play as well. CJ doesn't have much health. And Nouns, it's going to be a fairly one-dimensional post plant. Everybody's been forced back towards the stairs. Doesn't look like they're too keen to be proactive in the post plant. Taking up some passive positions. That allows for Eternal Fire to close the gap. Where does Wicadia drop his smoke is the question. 2 smokes, both of them end up on the bomb itself. There's the flank coming through from B-Wills. That throws the cat amongst the pigeons. Frags going back and forth right now. XANTARES is the one with the kit, looking to stick the defuse. DJ can't hit the spray, and with that, the point will go the way of Eternal Fire.
Party. B-Wills with the Galil. Of course, thankfully, the case for Nouns with that bomb plant means they still have a pretty decent investment into this one. Utility's a little bit thin, but it's enough at the moment. B-Will's looking to lurk his way through. I mentioned B-Will's usually that safe pair of hands for this roster. He could be the one about to take point in mid. If Major or if he threw that incendiary down right then, that would have been spot on timing. 50 seconds. Nade's coming in toward the white box area as well. Wicadia really the only one focusing on mid as it stands, and there are 3 players that could be about to come his way. Thing is that Eternal Fire have so much information on map control, because look how far woxic has pushed down to the bottom of A ramp. Good trade at least from CJ. Calyx will get one back, and in come the frags. Calyx and Major. Ooh, big one from Marky. Recovers it into this 2 versus 2. Bomb can go down with 25 seconds, you would think.
Yeah, no one able to be the difference maker just yet. No one with the multi-kill here in the round.
Need to grab
Who
it,
can
though.
split these 2 teams is the question. XANTARES isn't going to find an angle, and that means it's another retake coming through from Eternal Fire. This time, the post plant is a whole lot more doable for Nouns in the 2v2. Marky still locking down the site. A fresh smoke is going to be a tough one for Eternal Fire to navigate here as well. They do have kits and a flash, and they don't have the luxury of time here of waiting for the smoke grenade to dissipate.
Yeah, they don't have a smoke for the defuse either, so surely Marky has a chance, but XANTARES... Yeah, that's what happens. Carson, 1 versus 2, 42 points of health, and XANTARES just hits another one.
Okay, they're almost on the border of being able to afford a full buy, but never quite there, and that's quite rough. Oh my god, those nades are certainly rough. XANTARES spoiled for choice. He'll get a kill. That brings Wicadia into action, and Eternal Fire reigns supreme at ramp.
We saw those nades not work out in the previous round, but they certainly worked out in this one. Ridiculous. That's a real good answer back from Cynic. Just ADing on the ramp gap grate there. Making it very hard for Eternal Fire to deal with him, but of course damage is still significant onto Cynic. Problem is, for Nouns, is that Eternal Fire's rotations are quick. It's going to be very hard for them to fight against the likes of XANTARES and woxic. woxic's going for a bit of information searching as well. 1 in the side, not 2 though. I feel like that's the situation where he maybe could have got that second.
Yeah.
Thankfully, Nouns recover it quickly. 2v2, but look at this setup for Eternal Fire. They have each other's back right now. Calyx and XANTARES holding hands and going for a double gap push after woxic was just there. Surely this is not considered. It's being glanced at. They know at least one more player was here, so they're going to look at it, and that is good heads-up play from B-Wills. But a third, surely not. He'll look for it, and Calyx will take him down. 1v1 versus Marky. Galil versus M4. Molotov on both players now. Calyx not realizing that Marky is still sat behind the default boxes, and Marky will go for the swing. Something Nouns didn't do on those previous afterplants. But right now, there's nothing to tilt about. The only thing that is slightly upsetting for them, of course, is that those 2 rounds, which could have been won cleanly, have come down to the wire. And it means they've built up no economy in the rounds that they've won.
Yeah, I think
rough long term.
I think at this point, though, they'll just take whatever they can get.
Of course. It's better win the round.
Yeah.
Just win the round at whatever cost.
And you know what? If they win this next round, their map point before Eternal Fire get an investment.
And it's a good old-fashioned swing round.
It is.
There's no saves on either team. Someone's going to be on a low buy. Maybe Marky could get a hero AK or something if Nouns do lose it. XANTARES tapping away. The flash is really good, and what a great protocol that is for Nouns. Cynic removes arguably the biggest threat.
Yeah, absolutely. Wow. 21 kills to XANTARES' name right now. Couple players still on single digits. And off the back of getting that control and getting that frag, Nouns are just going to reshift their focus here over towards the opposite side of the map. We saw Eternal Fire employ this exact same play in the previous half. It worked very well for them. It's only Calyx on the B side of the map. However, some support is going to arrive in the way of Major.
That's good, because Calyx has been caught off guard a few times on B. Oh, is that Molotov not going to spread? That could be huge for Calyx. Are they going to check quad because of it? His teammate Major's been taken down. Calyx needs more than one, but he can only get that one. Cynic takes him down. Wicadia's in the open. CJ finds woxic. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Well, they've tried to fix it. Thankfully, they've got a 4 versus 4. Good answer back from CJ. And XANTARES going to be flashed in again. He looks for all the intel. Worried, of course, that smoke, someone may have jumped up, but of course, that's not going to be the case. They've left the scenario straight away.
Yeah, it's an obscure smoke that was deployed there by CJ, and it does kind of just keep Eternal Fire guessing as to what's going on. I do like the re-aggression from Eternal Fire to get info. It's good that they haven't gone into their shells, despite the fact that these rounds haven't been going great. It's not like they're just playing super passive Counter-Strike. They're still sticking to their guns right now. All right. 4 versus 4, sub 1 minute left on the clock. What's the plan for Nouns from here?
Here we go. This could be their biggest international tournament victory.
Yes, to date.
To date. And they're 1 round away from it, and they've got a few chances at it as well. How are the nerves? On the outside, it looks chill. On the inside, I'm sure it's not.
35
DJ.
seconds on the clock now.
Yeah, this is where it's going to get very, very spooky. Woxic,
yeah.
He needs to step up here. He's been slow. That's a big kill. 4 versus 3. I think he knows the second coming in from that window area. Here's the information, but Marky's found another. Great reaction from woxic. CJ, though, will deal with Major, and woxic is so very low. He's trying to be baited out. Look at this from Marky, but he can't make it happen.
Together, a lot of utility. Certainly prioritization of the util coming through for the T side. Some slightly weaker weapons employed as a result. Let's see what they can do here.
Aye. This is going to be insane. Nouns so close to what would be a huge win. Damage done by Wicadia through yellow. Are they going to go for a boost now? Oh my goodness. Mid-round boost for XANTARES. It's checked. B-Wills with the Mac 10 takes it. At least it gives Major that AK to upgrade from the MP9. There are so many players still here for Eternal Fire.
The problem is Nouns don't have any players on the other side of the maps. They don't have the option of rotating away from here. They're going to have to commit to the same bomb site. Eternal Fire have 2 players of their own in forward positions. That means they're going to try and play ahead of the smokes. If the smokes come through, it flashes for now. It frags as well. All 5 players still alive. They've got control of the A bomb site. Nouns about to accomplish the unthinkable.
woxic and Calyx, surely not. It's 2v4. They've won a couple of ridiculous retakes in this game. Arguably, they've played better overall than Eternal Fire. It's only those retakes that saved them at the portion of this first half. It's woxic and Calyx to try and save this best of 1. Diffuse kit on Calyx, couple of smokes available. That could be critical. Surely we don't get a defuse in the smoke. Max 10 in the open. woxic takes that one, but CJ finds the last two. And Nouns have their biggest up.